So I want to answer 4 to 5 questions, which are the most common questions I get in sales. So let's dive into that. One of the first things I get is this conversion rate, right? So I think companies and sales agents struggle with conversion rate. So what is conversion rate? How do you manage? How do you judge? And where do you measure them? It gets complicated because of timing, right? So what's your lead-in time to close a deal, the ticket item, discounting, payment plans, all these sorts of things. I just get rid of that. And I just work on a simple principle. My first conversion rate KPI would be, if I gave you 100 leads in a week, how many did you close? If it's 10, your conversion rate is 10%. So that's one way to look at it. Very simple, start there. There's complexity to that though. So your lead-in rate means that the leads you got in week 1, you're actually closing in week 3 or 4 or 5. So the conversion rate for that week is going to be different, but the average will be the same. So get over yourself and don't worry about it, unless you've got some fancy software to deal with it. Another question is there one thing I should focus on to be successful and close deals, right? No, there's not. It's never one thing, it's multiple things, but I think there's certain things that carry more weight than others. And I'll run through just a couple of those. The first thing for me is work through a framework and a script. Don't have different conversations every single time you talk to a customer, right? Second thing is product knowledge. Know your shit. Don't speak to a customer and make it up as you go, because the customer will hear it and they're not interested, man. Third thing is listen. It's the skill set that people never have. And I think there's big kudos in just listening, right? Off the back of that, number 4, contextualize your communication based on what they're telling you. Don't have random pieces of information, right? And the 5th thing is tonality. Make sure your tone's right. Make sure your tone's right. See what I mean? Make sure your tone's right. Because you can sound too playful and too friendly, it's not gonna work. You can sound aggressive, it's not gonna work. You need to get your tone right. Now, I'm not saying emulate your customer, don't do that, be yourself, be real. But just make sure your tone's pretty good, right? The next thing is, I think you need to close. Long pause. You need to close. So what you need to do is ask for the money. And you don't need to aggressively ask for the money, right? You need to just ask for it, and you can do it so lightly, just like this. Hey, so can I get you started today? That's actually a close, instead of aggressively going for them, right? And then as soon as you do that, pause. The next thing is, should I discount? Yeah, you can. A discount is a value offer, right? So, hey, if I can get you on board today, I can give you 20% off. It works. It's old school, but it works, right? So I'm a bit of a fan of it, but where's the value, right? So you have to close and sell on the basis of not discounting, but on value. Because when you sell on the basis of discounting, you just won't close that many deals, because some people don't care about the money. And here's the thing, what I realize is that if you increase your prices, sales will go up, not down. As long as it's marginal, right? You can't double them and expect them to go up. But if you increase, I can tell you right now, here's the thing, and the research states this. If you want to make more money, increase your goddamn prices. People think, oh, we need to sell more. Well, hang on a minute, do you really need to do that? 2 parts to that. The first part is, if you're going to increase your prices, increase them marginally and test it first, please. Or test it on the edge of the company, pick 1 or 2 products, if you've got 10, and raise the price and see what happens with the lead count. See what happens with the quality and see if sales go up. And in most cases, sales do not, well, look, they don't go down, but in most cases they go up, but you have to adjust your scripting and your close communication around that. But should I discount overall? Yeah, look, I think it works. I wouldn't do it every single time. I'd hold it. And I'd communicate with the customer over a period of days to try and close them, and I would use that as a last resort value offer. So, he's told me no, no, no. I've had 2 or 3 conversations. On the 4th one, I say, hey, look, this is the best I can do. Mate, if you can't do this, I'm gonna have to just let it go, and maybe you'll have to find somewhere else, or ask someone else to deliver this for you. But what I can do is I can give you 10% off. I need to get you on board now, and that's my final offer. But if you do that, you've got to have the balls to stick to it, right? Don't give in on that. And what'll happen, you'll find normally in a couple of months, they'll come back around and they'll come to you, right? As long as you've done the sales call well. I've got one more here, objection handling. Objection handling is you know, you're trying to circumvent them and persuade them to make a decision. But the problem with objection handling, if you don't know what the real problem is. So if I say to you, and you know, guys get this all the time, right? You guys know it. Hey, I need to speak to the wife, or I need to speak to the husband, right? Now, the problem about that is when you start objection handling that, you actually don't know whether that's the truth. So, because you haven't qualified it. So you go into objection handling mode, right? And you start punching this guy a little bit on the phone. And you could never win that battle because he's just actually lied to you, and it's not about the wife or the husband, it's about the money. So, you know, I'll do a quick role play on that. My take would be, someone says, hey, I need to speak to the wife, so leave that with me and I'll come back to you. Hey, by the way, at the very start of the call, one of the first questions I asked them, is there anyone else part of this decision-making process? Is your wife involved or a business partner? So get the information up front, please. Don't be stupid. Use intelligence. Write that down, put that in the CRM so you can reflect on it if you're trying to close the deal 2 weeks later. So what I'm saying is, I'll go, okay, great. Well, look, that's great. I think you should do that. I acknowledge and agree, right? Acknowledge, agree. Mate, I understand, no problem at all. You should do that. I think that's important. By the way, what's the wife's name? Cindy, great, Cindy. So have you spoken to Cindy about this before? No, I haven't. Okay, great. Pause. What do you think she'd say about it? Oh, I think she'll be on board. Okay, great. Well, look, if you think she's gonna be on board, well, why don't we just get you started today? Are you in a position to do that? See how easy that is? It's not complicated. Now, he may go, look, I don't really know what she's gonna say. I don't know whether she'll be on board or not. So you get ahead of it. You could say something like, look, from my experience, and I've been doing this for about 7 years now, is in most cases, your wife will be worried about the money and how that affects the family budget. What do you think will happen when she says that? Now, is this something, can I go back to the money? Is this something that you think you can afford? He's gonna go, yeah, we can afford it. Okay, great. So now you have to really get intelligent about the communication, right? And you need to check the customer's sincerity on that complaint is what I'll call it. So you can objection handle with intelligence. It's not just objection handling for the sake of it. It doesn't work anymore, it's too old school. So all I'm saying is be intelligent about it. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for joining. Just a couple of questions around selling and how all that comes together as part of our our sales program we're going to be rolling out over the next 2 or 3 months. I hope you got some value out of that. I appreciate you joining, taking the time out, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Cheers.